Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Fear the Walking Dead Season 8A. I will be discussing every single episode from this half a season in this video, and I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead begins with Morgan in some kind of interrogation room being questioned over a speaker by Mr. Padre himself. Now immediately I was already lost. Immediately I was already disorientated because the last episode ended things with the characters going to Padre, but now they're there and they're being questioned and I don't really know what's going on. Admittedly, this isn't the worst example of Fear the Walking Dead skipping ahead between episodes, but I don't know, whenever I watch an episode of Fear the Walking Dead, it always feels like I missed something because there's always something that happens off screen. Like I said, this isn't the worst example at all. There are far worse examples, much worse examples in this video. But again, I came into this episode, and bear in mind I haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead for about a year. I came into this episode, and 10 seconds in, I'm just thinking, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? I'm already lost. So Madison is in the room with Morgan as well, and she helps him escape. Not before Morgan decides to threaten a speaker by holding his gun up to it, which is interesting to say the least. Now, before I go into discussing more specifics from this episode, I just want to quickly touch upon Padre and, how they do things. And I just feel their whole operation is kind of dumb because they're going out of their way to kidnap children because they want to raise them, as their own, in their own little cult-like environment, right? And to me, it just feels like, kind of stupid because you're going to kidnap children and it's very dangerous. There's the chance that the parents will fight back. There could be casualties. The children could die. The parents could die. The Padre goons could die trying to kidnap the kids. And then even if, you do manage to get the kids and, get them out without being shot at or, anyone getting injured, there's always a chance that later down the line, the parents will try and get revenge and try and attack you. There's always the chance the kids will try to rebel. They'll try and find their parents, or they just won't adjust to life at Padre. So it feels like a very strange way, to try and grow a community and to try and grow like a cult. I don't understand why Padre, Mr. Padre himself, isn't just some kind of cult daddy leader type person who has 50 wives and is just having lots of kids. Because if you want to raise a cult of children, just breed more children. That way they'll be loyal because they'll be born into a cult. And you won't have to go out of your way kidnapping kids and then trying to brainwash those kids to believe what you believe and to follow your rules, I just think the whole operation, their whole kind of, the way they operate, the way they go about things, it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, the leader of Padre really should be a dude who has got 50 wives just having loads of kids. If he wants to, have a cult of children rather than stealing other people's children. It doesn't really make any sense because most cult leaders in real life, they have lots of wives and have lots of kids. And I don't know, just from the get-go, I already think Padre's whole operation is kind of dumb, honestly, but there you go. After Morgan and Madison escape, we then get a scene of this girl here fighting against some walkers in a arena-type environment on Padre, and it turns out that this girl is Mo, as in Mo, Morgan's kid Mo. So we've now skipped ahead into the future. Now, how old do you think this kid is? To those of you who haven't watched the show, how old do you think this kid is? I would have said 13, 14. It turns out she's 12, right? But in this show, she's 8 years old. There is no way this is an 8-year-old kid. There is just no way. Why would you cast someone like this as an 8-year-old? Like someone who's nearly a teenager as an 8-year-old? Well, I know why. Because they probably think that, a nearly teen, a 12-year-old girl will be a better actor than a child actor. But she's not. She's pretty damn bad, right? So it just doesn't really work for me because, we've jumped ahead 8 years now. But why not just jump ahead 12? Because, loads of other Walking Dead stuff, the timeline in The Walking Dead is all over the place now anyway. I mean, the Maggie and Negan show, that's jumped ahead even more, isn't it? Because, Herschel's, 16 in that show. So that's jumped ahead even further. Morgan, the actor who plays Morgan, has already said he doesn't want to do any more Walking Dead stuff. So why does it matter about the timeline, of this show? Because he's probably not going to meet up with Rick anyway. So, why not just skip ahead, 12, 13 years? Then the actor is the right age. Or just cast an 8-year-old. But they've done it, they've just done it half-assed. They've done it completely wrong, where they've jumped ahead 8 years, and we've got someone who doesn't look like she's 8 years old, playing an 8-year-old. And it's just really distracting. Throughout the entire show, it's really distracting. So, Mo, and for the record, when I say Mo throughout this review, I'm referring to the girl Mo, not Morgan. She has some very bad dialogue in this episode, which is kind of par for the course for Fear the Walking Dead. But her first, kind of lines in particular, they're pretty damn bad. Because there's, a scene of her with her friend, who's called, Dove, I think. Because everyone on this island has a fucking bird code name. And she's talking to her, and she's, gazing out across the distance, gazing towards the horizon. And she says to her friend, "As I look out towards the horizon, I notice there is something missing inside of me," right? And it's just what 8-year-old talks like this? What fucking 8-year-old reflects upon, the sunset and looks off in the distance and is "There's something missing from my soul, from my very being." 8-year-olds don't talk like this. They don't. 8-year-olds don't talk like this. I don't even care if it's an apocalypse 8-year-old. They might be more grown up than your kids in our world. I don't care. They still don't talk like this. They still don't talk like this. Have the writers ever been round kids? Okay? For the record, I have kids. I've got 2 stepkids and a daughter, okay? The stepdaughters are 9 and 13, I think. My daughter's 6, right? And you want to know what a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old talk about, okay? They talk about dumb shit. They talk about bums and eyeballs and poo and boogers, right? Kids are dumb. Kids talk about dumb, stupid shit all the time. They do not look out towards the horizon and reflect upon their feelings. They don't do that. Kids are stupid. Just the other day, my daughter said to me, "Dad, what did the butt say to the butt?" I said, "I don't know, Daisy. What did the butt say to the butt?" "You're a smelly butt." Ha 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 ha. This is what kids are like. They're fucking stupid. Sorry, Daisy, if you're watching. You shouldn't be watching this. You know this is not for kids. But kids are dumb, right? Kids think stupid shit is funny, okay? They don't talk like this. They don't talk like this. And look, I get it. Maybe it would be a bit weird if you're watching a TV show and, the main character is an 8-year-old kid making butt jokes. But, hey, it'd be more realistic. It'd be more realistic than looking out towards the horizon, feeling like they are lacking something within their very being. A fucking 8-year-old doesn't talk like this. I'm sorry. They don't talk like this. We then get an exposition dump from Mo's friend, Dove, or whatever her bird code name is. And I mean, this show should just be renamed Fear the Exposition, because it's just characters telling us stuff that happened off screen all the fucking time. So she says to Mo, "Oh, 8 years ago, Madison tried to escape and took out 20 guards, and Morgan and the kid escaped, and and that's why she's locked up." And this happens a lot. Especially because of the time skip. The exposition is even worse than it normally is on Fear the Walking Dead. Because we've had this time skip, every episode now, it's just characters saying, "Yes, this happened during those 8 years which we didn't show you." It's so frustrating. But anyway, Mo, the future scholar, goes towards Madison's cell because she's heard this story and wants to escape. And she goes to Madison and she's like, "Will you teach me how to use a hammer? Oh, great Madison. Oh, Madison the Great, will you teach me how to wield this hammer?" It's it's a fucking hammer. What is there to tell? You just fucking swing the thing. It's not complicated. Anyway, Madison agrees and the two escape after Madison leg swipes 2 guards with a hammer. They escape from Padre. And they don't even show the escape scene. The next scene, they're on land. The next scene is them on a boat, just going and they've just got to land. And it's how did you get out of here? All we saw was you take out 2 guards. Why did we not see a scene of them sneaking around the complex? It was nighttime, I believe, when this scene took place, when Madison attacked the guards. Why didn't we get a cool scene of them trying to sneak out, avoiding spotlights and trying to find the boat, trying to start up the boat, but someone's coming, so they have to take cover and shoot the people whilst they're trying to, get the boat running. But no, we just skip over that. They've escaped. Apparently it's that easy to escape from this island. We just skip over it. It's just so frustrating, and this happens so much this season, even worse than season 7, which was particularly bad at this. It just skips over stuff so many times. It skips over things. So yes, Madison escapes. We don't know how she escapes because we don't see it. The next scene, she has escaped. I want to quickly talk about Kim Dickens because she is absolutely fucking terrible in this season, and I know Kim has a lot of fans. I like her in the first 3 seasons of the show. I felt she was good. I enjoyed her character. I thought she played the part well. But she is just phoning it in so badly this season. Like, there's a scene, I believe, in the 3rd episode where she's about to get bit by a walker. And, like, it's just the way she delivers her line. She's like, oh, no, don't bite me. Ah, like, there's just no emotion. There's no emotion to it at all. Like, she is just phoning it in. She just wants to say her lines as quickly as she can, get off set, take the paycheck. And I can't blame her because this show is a fucking dump. I get it. She probably took one look at the script and was like, what the fuck have I signed up for? What is this? Just give me the paycheck. I'm not even trying. Just give me the paycheck. I'll say the lines and I'll go home. Like, she's really bad this season. Really, really bad. When Madison and Mo arrive on land, they strike up a conversation about Morgan. Now, guess who appears as soon as they mention Morgan? That's right, it's Morgan himself. He appears out of nowhere. What a coincidence. They ask Morgan how he found them, to which Morgan replies, I heard the chatter on the radio. Now, there are 3 instances, 3 examples in this episode where characters just appear and they go, how did you get here? Well, I heard the chatter on the walkies. Like, for fuck's sake. Like, maybe you can get away with doing this once, right? You can get away with doing this once, but to have it 3 times in an episode where characters just appear and they say, well, I heard the chatter on the walkie, heard the chatter on the radio, what a bloody coincidence. Like, oh, it's just lazy. It's really lazy writing, man. Just characters appearing out of nowhere. I heard you on the walkie. Like, what do characters do on Fear the Walking Dead? Do they just sit around a table listening to a walkie-talkie all day, waiting on the off chance that someone might say something? Like, do none of the villains on this show change their radio frequency? How does everyone know the channel which all the villains are talking on? How do people charge these walkies all the time? How do they hear walkie-talkies, like, when they're miles out? How do they hear them? It doesn't make any sense.
Hey, buddy. I knew you'd be in here. I heard the farting on the walkie.
What the hell? What are you talking about, walkie-talkie? What the fuck?
I planted a walkie-talkie behind your toilet.
You planted a walkie-talkie behind the toilet because you wanted to walk in on me having a shit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I like to watch.
Get out of here!
And you know what else doesn't make any sense? These stupid fucking flashbacks that Mo has throughout this episode. Throughout the episode, Mo has flashbacks to when Morgan tried to take her off the island, which is the event that was referenced by her friend Dove earlier on in the episode. She has flashbacks to, like, Morgan trying to escape with her, like vivid flashbacks, like Morgan has dialogue and he's talking to her, but at the time, she was 0 years old. She was a baby, like a couple of months old. The brain would not be developed enough to remember this. Like, I know people remember traumatic events, but you don't remember shit from when you're a baby. It doesn't matter how bad it is, alright? Someone will probably correct me now in the comments, but as far as I'm aware, you shouldn't be able to remember, like, dialogue, conversations, and things that happen when you are a couple of months old, okay? Like, I can't even remember shit, like, before I was, like, 5 years old, okay? So, I just don't understand. Like, she's having these flashbacks, remembering everything. It was like you weren't even talking back then. You was drinking out of a fucking bottle. Like, how do you remember this? And there's more shit that doesn't make sense. Well, at least not to me anyway, because it turns out that Morgan is working for Padre. Yes, he's not here to rescue Mo. He wants to take her back. And he's like, nope, I don't want anything to do with you. And I was just thinking, what? What's going on here? Because, like, this is the same guy who had a mental breakdown after his son died, okay? Like, being a dad is what defines Morgan, okay? Like, it's what caused him to turn into, go into clear mode and go absolutely fucking apeshit because his son died. And we go back to last season, like, he was searching for bottles for Mo. You know, remember the episode where they're in, like, the submarine? Was that last season or the season before? But you know the episode where he's trying to find formula for her and, like, he's always trying to rescue her and protect her and whatnot. But now this season he's like, nope, don't want anything to do with you. Don't care. Like, this is not Morgan, at least not to me. Okay, like, I get there's been a time skip. Some people will say, well, Josh, it's been a time skip. People change, get over it. But you can't change a character without showing me that. You can't just jump ahead, so many years and go, yeah, they've changed. Like, this is like what happened in season 4 of The Walking Dead. When season 4 began, and like Madison, Nick, and all the characters were completely different to how they were in season 3. But some people just said, well, it's been a couple of years, so they've changed. Like, no, that's a lazy excuse. You can't just change characters and not show them going through a change. Like, you can't just skip ahead and everyone's completely different. Like, without showing me. The thing that defines Morgan, at least to me, right? Like, that defines his character is that he's a dad, okay? That's what makes Morgan who he is. That's why he was so heartbroken after his son died. Like, he was looking after his son during the first episode, caring for him after his wife had died. Like, he's not a bad dad. Yes, he should have put his wife down, but, that was a hard thing to do, right? I think anyone would find that hard, especially, at the start of the outbreak, right? He wasn't as hardened to the world as he is now, and everyone would have trouble putting their loved one down, right? But like I said, the first instance we see Morgan on the show, he's caring for his child on The Walking Dead. That's what defines his character. That is who Morgan is, a dad. There is no way, biological or not, that he would just say, nope, I'm not interested in you. Fuck off. I don't care. Like, that's not Morgan. I'm sorry, but that is not who Morgan is to me. Like, there is no way he would reject a child. There's no way. Sorry, I just don't agree. And not only do I believe that Morgan wouldn't abandon his own kid, I also don't believe he would be happy kidnapping other people's kids and partaking in that, because Morgan, as we see him here, he's a collector now. So he's working for Padre, stealing children. Like, there is no way I ever see Morgan stealing people's children. I'm sorry. I just don't believe he would ever do that. I mean, this is a guy who spent fucking, 2 seasons roaming around the country doing the whole, take what you want, leave what you need, helping people, going out of his way to help families and people, but now he's kidnapping kids. Why? What are you doing, man? What's going on? Like, for all this character's faults, for all the dumb shit he's done, for all the times he's gone crazy into clear mode, right? Morgan is not a deadbeat dad, and he is not a child snatcher, but that's what he is now on this show. It's just a character assassination. It's ridiculous. Morgan, Mo, and Madison are about to be attacked by some walkers, and then Grace appears in the nick of time to save them. And how did she know that they were there, you ask? Because of course she heard the chatter on the radio! Of course she did! Perfectly reasonable explanation. Perfectly reasonable to have this happen 3 times in the same episode. And then the episode ends with some Padre goons just arriving out of nowhere. And then the characters ask, I think Morgan says, how did they get here? Or Madison does, I can't remember. And then Grace says, oh, we radioed them. No, you didn't. I've been watching you the entire time you've been on the show. You didn't radio anyone, unless this is something else, which again happened off screen. And this is the season premiere to the show. This is supposed to be the episode that grabs you. Even during its worst seasons, even during Fear the Walking Dead's worst seasons, Season 6, 5, 4, 7, at least the premieres were always entertaining in those seasons, right? Even if the rest of the season was a fucking shit show. But this premiere is just absolutely dog shit. It's so bad. It's just such a bad episode, and it doesn't get any better. So let's talk about episode 2. Episode 2 begins with June pretending to be Rambo as we see her in the woods with her sniper rifle, using tranq darts to take out Padre goons, and then when the goons are taken out, she goes over to them, chops off their finger, one of their fingers, and then lets them go. Why? What is the point? If you want to fight against Padre, kill the people? Or take them hostage and try and find out some information? What good is just cutting off a finger? That is just a mild inconvenience to Padre. That isn't going to do anything. Who gives a shit? Oh no, one of my soldiers lost a finger again. Oh dear. Why are you not killing them? Why are you going to all this effort to tranq dart people? Where the fuck did you get tranquilizer rounds anyway? Where did you get all this equipment? I just don't understand. I just don't understand. I think the writers just wanted a scene of June putting fingers in a jar, right? Because they thought, oh, that looks cool. That's a cool image. But they didn't know how to get to that point. So, they came up with the June putting the fingers in the jar image first, and then they kind of wrote themselves to get there. They kind of worked on it backwards, which is why we have this ridiculous scenario of June wasting her time sending people to sleep, chopping off their fingers, and then sending them on their merry way. And then they go back, they go home. Like, Padre doesn't care. Why are you not killing these people? Like I said, this is just a mild inconvenience to Padre. This is ridiculous. What a waste of time. At around the 2-minute mark of this episode, we actually see an example of June hearing the chatter on the radio. Her radio goes off and, we hear some people talking. So at least they actually showed the chatter on the radio happening this episode instead of characters just saying, I heard the chatter on the walkies, I heard it on the radio. At least we do actually see that happen this episode. And then another boat appears and June goes to take out the people on the boat. She takes out the adults on the boat. And then she goes to retrieve the boat and a kid pops out and he's like, oh, I ducked and you didn't hit me. And it turns out that this kid is named Finch and he is Dwight and Sherry's kid. And he is also 8 but looks about 15. Dwight and Sherry are both on this boat. They're both shot by June with the tranq darts and then after she talks to Finch, they just wake up. Like, how are you waking up from a tranquilizer round? And don't say, oh, it's because they heard their kid talking. That would make a difference. If you're hit by a tranq dart, you're out for fucking hours, right? So how do these two wake up within 30 seconds of being tranked? It doesn't make any sense. And it turns out Dwight and Sherry are working for Padre because everyone on this show is fucking working for Padre. Everyone was just recruited by Padre during the time skip. And yeah, we didn't see any of that. Everyone just works for Padre now. Okay. The Dwight and Sherry working for Padre, like Morgan, not wanting to look after his child, also feels like a character assassination to me because these two worked for Negan, right? They worked for a bad guy. Sherry ran away, was traumatized because of it, and Dwight defected. Like they learnt their lesson, okay? I'm pretty sure when Sherry returns in season 5 or 6, whenever it is in this show, she spends her time wanting to take down Ginny because, she's like, I need to take her out because she's like Negan and we can't, let these bad groups exist, right? Now they're working for an organization that fucking kidnaps kids. What are you doing? The characters wouldn't do this. They wouldn't do this. It's like, it seems like the writers haven't watched The Walking Dead, but not only that, they don't even remember what happens in their own fucking show. These two just wouldn't be working for this organization. They would not. None of the characters would be. I don't understand. It should be all the characters versus Padre. All the protagonists versus Padre. None of them should be working for them. They wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't. What are you doing? There's a conversation that Dwight and Sherry have 20 minutes into this episode where Sherry says to Dwight, maybe we should leave. This doesn't feel right, D. This feels like the Sanctuary. This feels like the Saviors. No fucking shit. Why did it take you 8 years to work that out? Are you fucking stupid? What has happened to the characters during the time skip? They're even dumber than usual. Oh my god. So Finch, Sherry and Dwight's kid, has appendicitis, and apparently that's where Sherry and Dwight were going to the clinic on the boat somewhere to get treatment, wherever the fuck the clinic is. But they just say, we're going to the clinic, and I'm expected to know where it is. But yes, they were going to the clinic to help their child try and get his appendicitis treated, right? Finch does remarkably well, throughout this episode for a kid who has appendicitis, because he's walking around carrying a gun, he's taking out walkers. He goes between having scenes of him 1 minute going, ugh, my appendix, ugh. And then 2 seconds later, he's running around killing people. If you had appendicitis, you would be on the floor in pain, curled up in a ball. You wouldn't be walking around with a gun. Ridiculous. So all 4 of these characters then travel to some kind of train car where June is going to carry out the operation and to, hopefully fix his appendix or take out the inflamed appendix before it blows up, right? And they go onto this train car, and then we get this shocking revelation that June also worked for Padre, because everyone fucking worked for Padre. I mean, what is this place? It's like fucking McDonald's. Everyone works there at some point. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so she worked for Padre during the time skip, something else that we didn't see, and was carrying out experiments on walkers, which we also didn't see, which I thought would be, quite interesting to see, but, they just skip over that. It turns out she was carrying out experiments on walkers, how to stop the walker infection, and she was carrying out experiments in this old grubby train car, and she came to realize that radiation can stop infections and stop the walker infection spreading. And this is a pretty simple solution, really, to stopping the infection. You would have thought that Dr. Jenner And, you know, all the scientists around the world, they would have tried radiation at some point. You know, they would have tried it to try and stop Walker infections or stop the virus spreading. Try, you know, chemotherapy, some form of radiation to stop the cells growing, reproducing, you know, whatever. But nope, apparently none of them thought of that. Apparently June, a random nurse, discovered the cure in a grubby old train car with like scavenged equipment, secondhand equipment. But this also serves as a retcon to explain why Alicia survived for so long last year after she was bitten, last season, sorry. But, you know, there are plenty of other characters who were bitten, who were also exposed to radiation, but they didn't live, so it still doesn't really make any sense. And it's at this point that a dude named Adrian shows up, and I haven't mentioned him yet because he does appear like towards the start of the episode when June's going full Rambo mode, but I haven't mentioned him till now because he's so boring. But anyway, he turns up and he shoots a control panel, which means that they can't do the operation. So then Sherry and Dwight have to go through the back of the train and try to turn on this emergency override switch, blah, blah, blah. Skip ahead because this episode is pretty fucking boring. So Adrian sees his dead daughter in the back of the train and he decides to get eaten by her. And, you know, he's eaten and like this slow music playing and you've got, you know, June going, no. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, why are you expecting me to care about characters that you kill off in the same episode they are introduced? I don't know this guy. I don't fucking care about characters who you kill in the same episode. Stop trying to make it sad, you know, stop trying to, you know, make it an emotional moment in the show by using all this sad music. It's like, we don't know these people. We don't know these people. It just comes off as cringy and it just comes off as, you know, not genuine, you know, trying to like force emotion from the viewers about characters who we aren't attached to because we don't know them. He was only introduced 20 minutes ago. He's only had 5 minutes of screen time in this episode. And now you expect me to, you know, sit there going, no, Adrian, no. Like, I don't know this dude. I don't care if he's dead. Anyway, some Padre goons arrive on the train, as does Shrike, like the second in charge of Padre. She arrives on the train, and as Finch is like on the operating table, waiting for his surgery, she gets the head of Adrian and like lowers it towards Finch on like on this machine, on one of the pieces of equipment, and it looks so bad. Like Finch's head looks like something out of an Xbox 360 game. Like it looks so bad. Like they could have just brought in a walker. Like why did they have to take his decapitated head and then try and like CG it? She could have just brought in a walker from outside the train and, you know, and pushed it towards the kid and then bit Finch. But no, we have to do it with a bad CG decapitated head for some reason. But yes, the head of Adrian bites Finch, and then, you know, we get Dwight going, I'll kill you for biting my son. Again, I don't care. I don't know Finch. I don't care. Like, I know that's harsh. I know it's a kid. You should be sad when kids die on TV shows, but not if I don't fucking know them. I don't care. Like, this would have been more impactful if the walker bit Dwight or Sherry, because at least I know these characters. I've come attached to them. But Fear just kills off random people. It just introduces random people, then kills them off. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me that Finch is bitten. I didn't even know he existed until this episode. This is the first time I've seen him. I don't care. Bite Sherry or Dwight instead. Anyway, that's episode 2. Pile of shit. Let's move on. The third episode begins in classic Fear the Walking Dead fashion with a flashback and some awful dialogue as we see Colonel Padre talk to his 2 kids. You know, I guess this is to fill in the motivations of Padre and to show us why they're doing what they're doing. So we get some more flashbacks throughout this episode as Mr. Padranio goes on a boat somewhere and the kids sneak on the boat and then they wait for him to leave before they, like, you know, come out of their hiding place. And they see that he's left his binoculars on the boat. So they say, we need to go find him. So we need to give him his binoculars, because he can't see without them. Well, yes, I'm sure he can actually see without them, but okay. So they then run into like this shipyard with shipping containers, and they get caught up between some walkers. They get surrounded by walkers, and then the dad appears and like he lifts the 2 kids up into a container. He saves them, and then the dad gets bitten. The dad gets bitten on the face. Like that's fine. I don't have an issue with that, but it's what comes after. Like he gets bitten on the face. He's surrounded by like hundreds of walkers. At this point, they should be ganging up on him, right? Jumping on him, putting him to the floor, ripping him to pieces. But the dad has time to turn to his kids and say like 4 or 5 lines of dialogue. This man should be screaming for his life. He should be screaming in agony, on the floor, in pain. But instead he turns to his kids and he's like, "Don't let this die. Don't let this dream die. You must carry on. My vision." It's like you should be on the floor being ripped to pieces.
Don't let this die. It's too important.
Don't let this die. It's like he should be screaming, going, "Don't let this die." Like, you know, if they are going to make him have dialogue, say it and you know, have him be in pain. "Don't let this die. Let this dream carry on." Like, that would be more realistic than him just going, "Don't let this die. I'm getting eaten. Isn't that great?" Like, it's so weird. He should be being fucking ripped to pieces, screaming. He shouldn't be just, like I said, having a casual chat. For fuck's sake. So the big twist of this episode is that Padre is not Padre, okay? Because the dad's dead. He's not Padre. He's the brother of Shrike instead. So I guess he's not Padre. He's Hermano, right? That's brother in Spanish, right? So that's the big twist. And there's a scene where like Madison shatters the glass that he's like talking behind, like where he's situated, shatters the glass, and it cracks in slow-mo as he turns to the camera and, oh my god, it's actually the brother all along. What a twist. It's like, what am I supposed to get from this? Seriously. What am I supposed to get for this? Oh no. Padre isn't Padre. It's Hermano instead. What? Like, who cares? I don't care who. What does this matter who it is? What is the point? Who fucking cares who Padre is? It could be a fucking talking dog behind the mirror for all I care. It wouldn't make the show any better. Who gives a shit? Like, what? Honestly, what am I supposed to get from this? What am I supposed to get from this? Please, someone tell me. Like, was there anyone watching this going, "Oh, it wasn't the dad, it was the brother. What a fucking twist. What a twist. This show is amazing. This show is amazing. What a twist. Who would have saw that coming? Fucking genius." Like, was there anyone who reacted that way? Genuinely. Like, was there anyone who actually cared? Who cares who the man is? I don't care. Like, why are we wasting time on this twist? At this point in the show, we don't really know much about Padre at all. Like, we don't hardly know any of the inhabitants apart from Dove, Mo, and like Shrike, right? It's not like on The Walking Dead where we have a villainous group like, Woodbury or the Sanctuary, and we see like the inner workings, like, you know, of their whole society, and like the show takes time to really show you around and, you know, show you all these B tier characters, not just, you know, the main bad guy, but we learn about the henchmen and we see, you know, the lots of goings on at their location. But we don't know fuck all about Padre apart from who their names are, right? We don't really know anything about this place. There's like no character to it whatsoever. It's really not developed, and you expect me to care that it's not the dad behind the mirror, who I knew nothing about before this episode. Bear in mind, I knew nothing about him. I still don't even remember his fucking name. I'm supposed to care that it's not him, but instead it's the brother, who I know even less about. And I'm supposed to go, whoa, what a twist, what a twist. I don't care. What am I supposed to get from this? It's a waste of time. So Bird Boy and Bird Girl capture kids. They kidnap kids at Padre because their parents died, and they don't want that to happen to other kids, so they figure it's better to steal kids from their parents and then lie to them and tell them that their parents are dead. Apparently that's better. Makes sense to me. We then get another scene which makes absolutely no sense to me when it's revealed that Dove, this girl here, it's revealed that her mum was this lady from last season on Fear the Walking Dead who died when she was with Madison and Morgan trying to rescue her daughter, I believe, trying to rescue Dove. She was killed by Padre goons, some Padre henchmen, and her kid, Dove, finds this out, okay? She discovers who her mum is and that she's dead. Now, instead of blaming Padre, she blames Madison because Shrike says to her, it's Madison's fault because she made your mum believe she could be with you, and that's what got her killed. So it's her fault your mum's dead, even though we killed her. And then the girl is like, yeah, you're right. Fuck you, Madison, and tries to attack Madison. Where's the logic in this? What is going on? What? What? Oh, it's her fault for trying to save you, and it's Madison's fault for killing her, even though she didn't kill her. What the hell? I just don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's like if I found, I don't know, let's say I found someone on the street corner dying, right? So I call up an ambulance for them. The ambulance arrives, then for some reason, the ambulance blows up. I don't know why the ambulance would blow up. Maybe terrorists are targeting ambulances now. I don't know. But the ambulance explodes, okay? Next thing I know, I get a visit from this person's parents, and they say to me, Josh, it's your fault because you made him believe he could be saved. So it is your fault that he died in a exploding ambulance that you could have never predicted and, had nothing to do with. It's your fault our child is dead. No, it's not. What are you talking about? Get out of my property. Fuck off. Like, what are you talking about? Moving on, Daniel is back this episode, and you know how Daniel had, dementia the last couple of seasons? He doesn't anymore. I guess Daniel forgot he had dementia. Come on, that was good. That was quite clever. You got to give me that one. But anyway, yes, Daniel is fine, apparently, and he's drinking some kind of drink, and he's like, this drink is really good for the mind, really clears the mind. So I guess whatever he's got in his little cup, a pina colada, has cured his dementia, apparently. Okay, and he runs into Madison. Now bear in mind, he thinks Madison is dead. He has not seen her since the stadium. I expected his reaction to be, quite dramatic. He thinks this woman is dead. I don't expect Daniel to be, running and jumping to her because he's an elderly man, right? He probably can't do that. But I'd expect him to be like, whoa, you're alive, Madison, oh my God. But instead he just goes, oh, Madison, it's you. Really? That's your reaction to someone you thought was dead? Oh, wow. Hello. Oh my God. Oh yeah, and Daniel is now leading the parents against Padre, some kind of, freedom fighter movement. He's rounded up all the parents. So at least that's one of the protagonists who doesn't work for Padre, I suppose. At least that's something. But yeah, that's episode 3. What a mess. Let's move on to episode 4. Episode 4 begins with Morgan in King County because I guess Padre is now near Atlanta, maybe, where his old home was. I don't know where we are now. I know we're in the US somewhere, but I thought we were close to Texas a couple of seasons ago, or maybe even last season, but now Morgan has just driven to his old home. So I have no fucking idea where Padre is, but he's here, and then Grace appears, and Grace also has Mo on the back of her truck, but she didn't know Mo was on the back of her truck. And Morgan is here to finally put Dwayne down. Finally going to do what he couldn't do all those years ago. Padre and their red shirts are also here to crash the party because, it makes perfect sense to send out resources, to, send out people to chase down one man. I don't know what they want from Morgan, especially considering in episode 1, Shrike said to Morgan, we don't need you anymore. We don't care about you. We don't want you to be, a collector anymore. Go away. But now she wants him back for some reason. I don't really know, but okay, whatever. So she sent Dwight and Sherry to go after him. And basically, Dwight and Sherry spend this episode trying to force Morgan out of his house. Morgan barricades himself in the house. Looks very similar to how it does in season 1 of The Walking Dead, where he's got the curtains closed and the way the table is set up and all that kind of stuff. Very reminiscent of how it looked during the first episode of the show, way back when on The Walking Dead. And yeah, Sherry and Dwight want him to come out of the house so they can take him hostage and take him back to Padre, I guess. Morgan doesn't want to. He's begging with them to stop, to just leave me alone. So Morgan and Dwight then resort to sending walkers that are on fire towards the house in an attempt to, scare him out, I guess. But, Morgan has Mo in the house, his kid. And he says that multiple times to Dwight and Sherry. Look, I've got my kid here. Can you please stop trying to fucking burn me alive and burn the house down? And they're like, nope, we're not going to do that because you sold us out 7 years ago. Again, something we didn't see happen. We never saw Morgan sell Dwight and Sherry out 7 years ago to Padre. We didn't see that. Maybe I would understand this conflict more if I actually saw the reason why Dwight and Sherry don't like Morgan, instead of you just, it's like being something that happened off screen. Because I find it very hard to believe that Dwight and Sherry would try to burn down a house with a kid inside. I just don't see them doing this. And they do say to Morgan, well, we're doing this because Padre has our child, so your child isn't important. And like, if these characters had half a brain, they would just, come to an agreement. Morgan would just say to Dwight and Sherry, okay, take me back. I'll come to Padre with you. You pretend to capture me, and then when we're in Padre, we can all work together and, bust Finch out and we can all escape. That would make much more sense than these two characters fighting, these protagonists fighting, these pairs of characters fighting, and, Dwight trying to burn a house down with a child in it. It doesn't make much sense to me. Back at old Padre, Finch is doing fine now, apparently. His radiation treatment has stopped the spread of his bite, and he, knocks out Shrike by tripping her up, kicks her leg open and knocks her out. And this is, the third or fourth time already that Shrike has been KO'd by the protagonist, and I just don't know why they make the villains in this show so weak. And also, Dwight is in, like I said, the characters are now in King County, and Dwight is radioing to his son saying, do that move, take her out now, the move we taught you. How fucking far do these radios reach? Padre's on an island off land, and they're in King County, and he's chatting to his son over the radio. This is like a mobile phone now. This is like having a cell phone. This is not what these walkie-talkies do. But anyway, forget about that, because a house is on fire. Oh my god, a house is on fire. I don't know how it got on fire. Maybe did Dwight and Sherry send another fiery walker towards it? I don't know. I kind of stopped paying attention at this point. But anyway, it's not the house that Dwight and Grace are in, but it's a different house. It's the house next door to them. I assumed everyone was under the same roof because we saw Mo in the house with them, when Dwight and Morgan are talking, and Dwight's trying to send walkers towards the house because Morgan says to his daughter, his adopted daughter, go upstairs, right? But then it turns out she's not in this house. She's now in the house next door that's on fire. Did I miss something? Was this when I was not paying attention? Did she run out? Or is this just, another skip scene where she just ends up in this house next door and, we don't see it happen. We just have to, just fill in the blanks, I guess, like we do in every fucking episode of this show. But yes, she's in the house next door, which is not Morgan's house. It's the next door house, a different house. And she's upstairs in the attic where Dwayne is, where Morgan chained Dwayne in the attic of this other house for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. But what follows is a scene of Morgan trying to put Dwayne down. He's got his sniper rifle, the rifle that Rick gave him, I believe. It was the rifle they had in the first episode. I don't know if it was the one, because he had a sniper rifle before Rick came to him, right? So maybe it was a gun he already had. But he's trying to put Dwayne down. And, he's struggling, and his daughter's saying to him, please, Dad, save me. And he keeps seeing, visions of Dwayne and Jenny and stuff. And he finally does it. He finally, gets the strength, finds the strength to put his son down, do what he should have done all those years ago. And in turn, he saves his daughter. In turn, he does what he should have done all that time long ago, when we should have put Jenny down and saved his son. But now he's put down, his son and saved his daughter. So, yeah, it's kind of ironic. And, as terrible as this show is, and as terrible as this episode is, I kind of like this moment. I kind of like this scene. It was nice for him to get some closure. And like I said, there's a kind of irony to it that he, puts down his son to save his daughter. And, this time he saved someone by killing someone he loved, whereas before he didn't kill the person he loved, and it resulted in, someone else he loved dying. So I did like this scene. I like this. This was a brief moment of quality in what is a steaming pile of horse shit that is Fear the Walking Dead. Unfortunately, this quality doesn't last for very long, because immediately after, the writers shoot themselves in the nuts, because we get this scene of Morgan, Grace, and Mo standing outside on the ashes of the house, all having a little discussion. And you could have just ended the episode there, right? Because Morgan's got closure. We're now getting this little scene of the family together, chatting, bonding. Just end the episode there. Okay? The episode is a mess. granted. But if you had ended it there, I would have been kind of satisfied with the way it ended. And I would have thought to myself, you know what? That was a mess, but at least I got something from that. At least it ended on a nice note. There was some closure. It ended in what seemed like the right manner, with the family now getting past that and Morgan moving on and the family bonding. It would have been a nice ending. But no, they had to undercut that with some fucking cheap B-movie jump scare where a walker jumps out of the ash. How is this walker still alive? Like, why? Why would you do this? It completely undercuts the moment for a cheap jump scare. So this walker goes straight for Mo, and Grace comes in to stop the walker. And now bear in mind that, like, Grace's bum is towards the walker. Like, her back is towards the walker. And I watched this scene a number of times. You see the walker, like, go towards her and go, and bite her. And I'm guessing, like, it's an actual actor playing this walker, which is why they didn't want to actually make contact with Grace and, and bite the other person. Because I've watched it a number of times, and it seems to, like, go towards her body, but it never actually makes contact, right? It doesn't even look like the walker bit her. I've watched it a number of times. It doesn't look like it bit her. But anyway, Grace walks off into the distance. Like, her character goes out of focus after the walker is put down. We see Morgan and Mo chat, and then she slowly comes into, the focal point in the middle of the screen, and she pulls up her top, and she reveals a bite on her stomach, on the front of her stomach, when her stomach wasn't even facing the walker. Like, where she got bit, that part of her body wasn't even near the walker. She had her back to the walker. Sake, like, just basic continuity errors. Like, she was not even facing that direction. And like I said, I've watched this scene a number of times. It doesn't even look like the walker actually makes contact. Like, he just pretends to bite her. And yeah, so he doesn't make contact, and the bite is on a place where it shouldn't have been. Bravo. What a way to end the episode. Episode 5, and from the moment this episode begins, it pissed me off, because this episode begins with Morgan and Mo and Grace on a boat, and they're trying to get back to Padre to give her the experimental radiation treatment. Now, I knew from the get-go that this would not work, because as we all know, Grace has cancer, and she said in the previous episode, before she was bitten, when the characters were having a discussion in the house, before Dwight and Sherry burnt the thing down, she said to Morgan, I haven't got long left. I've only got a couple of months left. The cancer is back. But I know this because I had a scan. I don't know where the fuck she had a cancer scan in the post-apocalypse, but there you go. So Grace has cancer, which I believe was caused by radiation, exposure to radiation, and now the characters want to treat her with radiation treatment. And this isn't like, sophisticated chemotherapy. This is like some shabby radiation treatment done in a dusty old disgusting train car using like scavenged equipment, not carried out by medical professionals. So from the get-go, this is not going to work because she's dead either way. The radiation is surely just going to do more harm than good to her. So why are we going on this mission to Padre to try and get her exposed to more radiation? I don't understand. Also, what really pissed me off throughout this episode is that there are a number of times where Grace says to Morgan and Mo, can you please take me to these coordinates? She has like some coordinates on there. She says, can you take me to these coordinates because I want to just go there and enjoy the time that I have left with you. And they both go, nope, we're going to take you to this radiation place. We're going to take you to this train. It's like, this is this woman's dying wish. Just fucking do as she asks. Like, why are you being dicks? Like, why is everyone in this season, this half season, so fucking unlikable? Just do what she wants. She's fucking dying. No, we're not going there. Instead, we're going to drag you across in a fucking boat to an island. And then there's a moment where she's on like one of those, I don't know what they're called. Like they're on a railway. They've got a lever thing. They go up and down. I'll show the picture now. But there's a moment where she's on there with Mo. Mo must like drag her there somehow. And she's on that. Like, that's going to be a bumpy, horrible ride for someone who's dying. It's not going to be very comfortable. She's going to be in pain the whole time. Just take her to where she wants to go, man. And Morgan doesn't end up going with her because he says, oh, well, I'll distract the Padre red shirts and go another way. So he doesn't get there in time. So basically, long story short, I'm going to skip over most of this episode because it's pretty bad. Like, well, they all are, but there's not much to say. It's basically just trying to get Grace to this train car. They get to the train car. Grace and Mo do. And June tells Mo over the radio how to treat her, how to, perform this radiation treatment. And very unbelievable that an 8-year-old would be able to follow such instructions. But she does it, and it doesn't work out. Grace dies. She tries to eat Mo, but then Morgan arrives, like, in just a nick of time to put Grace down. And that's that, really. Not much to say about this episode. I mean, I'm no fan of Grace, but I would have just liked for Morgan to be there when she died instead of, separating Morgan just to have, another just fake out moment where you think that Grace is going to eat Mo. Well, of course she's not, but that was what they were going for. The writers wanted you to think that Grace was going to eat Mo, and then Morgan steps in to save the day. Like, can you just not give, this family just, a chance to say goodbye? Like, hasn't Morgan been through enough by now? I would have been happy just for him and Grace to go to these coordinates, wherever it was, in Mo, and just get a chance to say goodbye this episode instead of, more walker attacks, more scenes of walkers attacking people when the walker isn't going to kill them anyway. It's kind of pointless. The episode ends with Shrike appearing on the scene, as she so often does, and she says to Morgan, I need you to clear out the shipyard because I need you to clear the shipyard of walkers because there's important stuff in there. And Morgan says, no, I won't do it. And Mo says, okay, I will do it. And then Morgan gets upset. He's like, Mo, don't do this, you're gonna die. And then Shrike's goons take hold of Morgan. They throw him on the train, they lock the train up, and they fire a flare into the air, so the train is surrounded by walkers. So the episode ends with Morgan on the train, stuck inside the train, surrounded by walkers. Remember that. It's very important going into the next part of this video, okay? It's very important going in to episode 6 that you remember that Morgan is stuck in the train surrounded by walkers, alright? You got it? Got it? Don't forget. Don't forget, it's very important. Episode 6 begins with Morgan outside the train, for fuck's sake. Oh, yes, he's outside the train. How did he get out the train? We don't know. He's outside the train, even though he was locked in there, no way out, he's outside the train. And then Madison appears, and she just says, oh, you were crazy, you killed them all by the time I got here. And he's like, oh, I must have blacked out. How very fucking convenient. Oh my god. I don't know what to say, man. It's ridiculous. Like, what is the point of having a cliffhanger if you then ignore the cliffhanger completely in the next episode? Like, the point of a cliffhanger, like the cliffhanger of episode 5 was, seeing this pan out shot of Morgan stuck in the train surrounded by all these walkers. Oh my god, how is he going to get out of this situation, right? The whole point of a cliffhanger is it's something you come back to at the beginning of the next episode. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the beginning, but you come back to it during the next episode and you resolve it, and we see how the cliffhanger was solved, okay? But no, we don't. We skip over this cliffhanger, which makes the cliffhanger entirely fucking pointless. Like, imagine if at the end of season 6, where we had the whole, Negan of The Walking Dead, where Negan was about to kill someone, right? And imagine if season 7 just starts, skips over it. We jump ahead a month and we're just told that, oh yeah, did you know? Oh, by the way, Negan killed Glenn. He killed Abraham. We don't see it. That's it. Can you imagine? If that happened? That's like, why are you doing this? Why make a cliffhanger and then just skip over it? Like, it's crazy. It's like, the writers don't even have to write themselves out of a corner because they just deny the corner even exists. They just ignore the corner and move on to something else entirely, There's no trapping these writers into corners because they don't even care about finding a solution. They're just like, yeah, just ignore it. Move on. Forget about it. I just can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. When I just watched episode 6 and it began with him outside the train, I just burst out laughing. I was just thinking, fuck me. They don't even care. They're not even trying to explain things. Like, this is just such bad writing. It's fucking terrible. So it turns out that Morgan went into clear mode and killed all the walkers and, I don't know, punched his way out of a train and somehow. But anyway, yeah, we spend much of this episode with Morgan, blacking out. And again, it's just a convenient way to skip ahead and, to avoid scenes and just to get round these corners, right? I mean, remember when I said that Morgan was supposed to clear out this herd? Like in the last episode, Shrike wants Morgan to clear out the shipyard, and we see like the scene of the shipyard, I believe, at the end of episode 4, where there's like loads of walkers in there, hundreds, thousands of walkers, right, in the shipyard. Well, we don't see that because it just blacks out. He gets to the shipyard and then he blacks out, and we skip ahead, and yeah, the walkers are taken care of. We don't even see it. Like, I thought there'd be at least one big battle in this half a season, but nope. Morgan just blacks out the entire episode, and we keep skipping ahead because they just can't be bothered to explain anything. It just keeps... It's ridiculous. It's so fucking bad. This episode is titled All I See Is Red, which is a reference to a line that Morgan says in The Walking Dead. I believe he says it in the Clear episode, when he's talking to Rick. And he said, like, all I see is red, I see red, when after Dwayne died and he went a bit crazy, right? And obviously, the phrase, all I see is red, is a metaphor because, I mean, the word red in this context means anger. All I see is red. It means you're going crazy, okay? It doesn't actually mean that you see things through a red fucking filter. It's not to be taken literally, but that's what the writers do because Morgan actually sees red. He actually sees things through a red fucking filter. Fucking hell. Did these writers go to school? Fucking hell. Like, why are you taking the phrase, all I see is red, literally, and putting a red filter on the episode? Like, it doesn't actually mean Morgan sees red. That's not what it means. It just means he's angry. Why do I have to watch things through a fucking shitty, horrible looking red filter for half the bloody episode? What? Who decided this was a good idea? Oh, Jesus, I just can't. Like, why? Who takes this phrase literally? Okay, and you could argue that it's symbolic, Josh. It was an artistic choice. Even if that was the case, it's fucking horrible. It looks so bad, man. Why? It doesn't actually mean he sees things in red. It's like if I were to say the red mist descends. It doesn't actually mean I start seeing red mist. It's just what you say when someone's angry, when they're so blinded by anger. It doesn't actually mean that they see red mist or all they see is red. It doesn't mean that. It's a fucking metaphor. So because Chambers and Goldberg clearly don't understand the English language and don't understand what metaphors are, I'm going to help them out. So today, I'm going to explain some metaphors and what they actually mean so Chambers and Goldberg can avoid doing a similar mistake in the future. Enjoy.
Hey boss, it's me, Josh. Just letting you know that I won't be at work today. I won't be able to come in.
Why not?
I'm sorry, I'm just feeling a bit blue.
Feeling blue means that you are experiencing a low mood or feeling depressed. This does not mean that you are any way, shape or form blue.
There was a scary bug in the bathroom, Joshy Josh. I had to get out of there.
Oh, you're such a yellow belly, man.
I know I am. Look at my yellow belly.
Scott, I think I'm going to leave you to whatever this is. I'll be out of your way now. Bye. Bloody freak.
Yellow belly. This phrase means that you are a coward. It does not mean that your belly is actually yellow.
I'm telling you, Josh, that mate of yours, Steve, he's a right fucking idiot.
Oh, come on, mate, don't be like that. He's not that bad. What is it with you, man? Why do you always see the world in black and white?
I can't help it. I'm colourblind.
To see things in black and white means that you believe there is only one correct answer to a given situation, and most times you've already made your mind up, so it doesn't matter what the other person says because you have already made your choice. This does not mean that you literally see things in black and white. Now that was good, wasn't it, eh? Good stuff. Class dismissed. Go home. Fuck off. Right. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, so yeah, Morgan just teleports all over the place this episode. Like, 1 minute he is on the train, then he's at the shipyard, then he's stuck in a swamp, then his daughter stabbed him and she says, "Oh, you tried to kill me, oh my god," and he's like, "I know, I'm so sorry," and Yeah, it's a mess. It's absolute fucking mess. Weirdly enough, it was at this point in the season, 6 episodes in, where I thought to myself, you know what? I haven't seen Luciana yet, haven't seen Strand, Charlie, the Rabbi. Like, there's so many characters that Fear introduces that they don't do anything with. I mean, we had the brother of that bounty hunter, the twin brother. He appeared for one episode, disappeared. What happened to Wendell and, the trucker lady? There was that wrestler woman who appeared in like one episode. We had the kids back in season 4 or 5, whenever they were in the fucking woods place where the plane crashed. Like, yeah, it's just so many characters that Fear seems to forget about. And I mean, obviously Luciana and Strand are the big ones, and I don't even think they're mentioned this season. Like, they're main characters, which is, yeah, really weird. Or they were main characters anyway. I mean, they haven't really been main characters since, the show changed showrunners or writers in season 3, but yeah, it's strange that we haven't seen them at all so far this season. Just when you think things can't get any dumber, well, you should never really think that when watching Fear the Walking Dead, but just when things shouldn't really get any stupider, Shrike says that she needs to find the walker of her father, she needs to find her dad, and get his binoculars that are still round his neck, because the binoculars have coordinates in them that will direct them to some place that's good for settling and, I don't know, building society again. I don't know. But yeah, she says she needs to find her dad. Now, it's been about 8 years, give or take, since her dad died. And he had these binoculars around his neck when he died, right? He's been roaming around as a walker the entire time. What are the odds that the binoculars are still on his person? What if he fell over and they came off? What if they got caught on a tree branch and the wire, the rope ripped and snapped? Like, are you really expect me to believe that after 8 years of roaming around, falling over, stumbling over, this dumb fucking walker would still have this pair of binoculars round his neck? For fuck's sake, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but he does. They're still there 8 years later, apparently. Still there around his neck. They haven't come off. He's been looking after them, even as a walker. He's been taking care of his stuff. Very clever walker, this one. Maybe he's a variant walker, who knows. But yeah, she finds him, and she just freezes. Really just dumb. It was like the writers didn't know how to kill her off. I mean, they didn't know what to do with her character at all, if I'm honest. She's been absolutely, a waste of space since she was introduced to the show. But yeah, she sees the dad and she just freezes and goes, oh, no, and dies and just gets eaten. I was like, oh, okay, that was anticlimactic. That was a way to go. What a great villain she was. We then see old Hamano surrounding Daniel's group, the group of Daniel and the parents. And then Morgan and Madison appear and they say, here are the coordinates. Go. Let us go. We'll let you go. And so they do. They walk off. And then, not before Morgan gives some cliche, cringy speech about the people you leave behind being part of you and always being part of you, blah, 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 blah. Morgan then disappears. He decides he's had enough. He's going to finally go off on his own. He takes Mo with him. Not on his own then, but you know what I mean. He leaves with Mo, and then he does his whole thing on the walkie, trying to talk to Rick. I'll talk to you every day, Rick, at noon or whatever. I'll leave this on. Disappears. I mean, it's a bit too late. It's about 5 seasons now. Too late for Morgan to leave the show. Doesn't really make a difference. And the episode ends with a clip of Troy. Oh, well, it's not Troy because what I've read online, they actually casted a woman to play this role. They just wanted someone who was a hand actor, hand model, who had similar hands to Troy to play Troy. But they actually cast a woman instead because you can see that she has long blonde hair, which Troy doesn't have. But for all intents and purposes, this is supposed to be Troy at the end of the episode, who is now going to be returning, I guess, as the villain in 8B, which makes no fucking sense because he was hit in the head twice with a hammer. He was left to die in an exploding dam. And you expect me to believe that he is alive? How the fuck is Troy alive? I liked Troy. I thought Troy was great in season 3, but there's no way he should be alive. No way he should be alive. And if he did somehow, by some miracle, survive 2 bloody hits to the head with a hammer and a dam collapsing on him, he should be in a wheelchair drooling. He should have severe brain damage, okay? He should not be walking around like normal. I don't understand. Like, if Troy can survive that, you might as well just say that Nick's alive. Yeah, Nick got shot in the guts and was choking on his own blood, but don't worry about it. He walked it off. He's fine. It wasn't actually his, internal bleeding he was choking on. He just bit his tongue when he fell over. So the bullet actually just grazed him. So Nick's fine. I mean, there's a scene of Nick in the flowers at the end of the episode. That's not a flashback. That's not, symbolic. That is actually Nick alive. So yeah, Nick's alive now. Travis, he's alive. Fell out of the helicopter, but a dolphin caught him under the water and bounced him up, and he landed on a trampoline on the beach. And turns out he was never bitten. So Travis is also alive. Like, you get what I'm saying. Like, if Troy can survive that, death is fucking meaningless on this show. Death is absolutely meaningless if Troy can survive 2 hits to the head with a fucking hammer and being crushed and drowned in an exploding dam. Makes no sense. Mate, why? Fuck off. I got a fucking fly in the room. Anyway, yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous. And I've seen, some Fear the Walking Dead fans, overlook this, but I've seen them get excited because I've seen some people say that, yes, 8B is going to be like the true sequel to season 3 because it's got Troy and Madison in it. It's going to be an epic ending to the show. Spoiler warning, it's not. It's going to be terrible. Remember when people were getting excited when Madison came back and I made a video and I said it would make no difference? It would make no difference Madison returning because the show is terrible and the writers cannot write. And I was right, okay? I was correct. I don't think anyone could argue that the show has improved since Madison has returned, okay? It stayed just as shit or arguably got worse. So Troy returning, no matter how good of an actor he is, no matter how good he was in the 3rd season of the show, makes no difference. Because it's not the actors who are the problem with this show. The fundamental problem that Fear the Walking Dead has is that the writers are fucking shit, okay? Like, they are just absolute garbage writers. They are awful. It doesn't matter who you have on the show. You could bring Nick back for all I care. My favourite character from Fear. You could bring Nick back. It would still be bad. Because the writers don't know how to write the characters. They're absolute terrible writers. So, I mean, if you're somehow optimistic about Season 8B, you must be like the eternal optimist. I don't know how, after, how bad Fear has consistently been for the last 5 years, give or take, part of Season 6, I don't know how you could remain optimistic that just because Troy is back, the show is going to be good. It's not. The writers haven't changed. It doesn't matter. You can bring Troy back, it's still going to fucking suck. It's still going to be an absolute waste of time. And I am absolutely confident with putting that statement out there, okay? I'm absolutely confident in me saying that, I don't even consider the possibility that 8B could be good, okay? I've been stung so many times by this show. 8A is just horrible. Doesn't matter. Bring Troy back. Doesn't matter. It's still going to be bad. And just a final point on Chambers and Goldberg. I just can't believe these two are still employed. Like, if I performed at my job as badly as they do as writers, if I, turned up late, didn't hit my targets, I don't know if they turn up late, but I'm just saying an example of bad behavior, right? If I just didn't perform at all in my job, I would have been gone a long time ago. Like, in my day job, they would have fired me if I didn't do the work, if I didn't hit my targets, if I wasn't good enough at what I did, okay? I mean, they don't do it immediately, they give you some chances, but, eventually you're gone. These two have had enough chances. It's just odd. I don't know how they're still in this position. Like I said before, as a joke in a previous video, I said, they must have some dirt on AMC. But, I don't want to spread rumours. This is just completely made up. No evidence, to back this up. So don't go suing me, AMC. But it does make you think. It's like, how are these two still in this position? How? Like, is it nepotism? Is it because they have some dirt on AMC? Is it because AMC just don't care about Fear? That's the impression it gives off, They just don't care about Fear. Maybe they're just yes men. They just said to these two, do what you want with the show. As long as you agree, as long as you, agree with what we want from you and you say yes all the time and you make this show for as cheap as you can, we don't care if it's shit as long as we have something on AMC Plus. As long as we have some original content on there. Maybe that's what it is. Because I don't know how these two still have a job. Because, I haven't watched the previous show that they wrote for. Was it Once Upon a Time or something? But the impression I get from that, after, you know, seeing people talk about it in the comments and on Reddit and whatnot, is that they butchered that show as well. So they've done the same for Fear. I don't get it. I don't get it, you know. I hope these two aren't involved with the writer's strike, because they don't deserve any fucking more money. Writers do deserve more money, okay, in general, but not these two. These two deserve less fucking money, okay? But yeah, that's all I have to say about Fear, really, and about these two absolute idiots. This season is incredibly bad, this half of the season, and it's not bad in like an entertaining way, like with the beer balloon and, you know, like the episode where there's an alligator in like the pond or whatever. Dumb as fuck, but at least you can kind of laugh at it, right? There's nothing for me to like laugh at in this season. Like it's not funny in it's not like bad in an entertaining, oh my god, this is so fucking stupid way. This is just bad, and it's almost insulting because the characters are just so unlikable and just doing, like, you know, things that are so out of character. The motivations behind the villains are terrible. The villains are once again just shocking, you know, just not scary, just not intimidating, absolute, you know, wishy-washy, just, absolute waste of space, you know, toilet tissue villains, right? So this isn't even entertaining in a so bad, it's good kind of way. This is just terrible all around. Like, I can't even get any enjoyment out of, you know, laughing at its stupidity, because it just feels insulting, this half a season. It really does. It just feels insulting to anyone still watching this show. So thank you to everyone who kept asking me to watch this. Thanks for wasting my time. Everyone kept saying to me, please talk about 8A. It's all your fault. It's all your bloody fault I had to watch this. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Anyway, thank you for all your support during the last couple of months whilst I have been away. I will be back making content kind of semi-regularly now, so I'm not sure what I'm going to cover next. I will talk about Dead City, I'm sure, at some point, but, you know, I don't want to be doing that next video. Probably won't be doing that immediately. I will be doing it soon, but yeah, anyway, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching the video, all your kind messages the last couple of months. Really do appreciate it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Or, you know, do you love this? Like, I know I go on a bit of a rant and I don't like it, but look, if you do like this show and you genuinely do like it, go ahead, tell me. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna call you names or be horrible about it. It's interesting to learn if there are people who still like this, because I don't understand why anyone would, but that's not to say that you can't. So yeah, let me know your thoughts below, and I shall see you all very soon. And my god, this has been a very long video. It's going to take me absolutely fucking forever to edit this video. Anyway, I better go to bed now. It's getting really late. Bye!